How's it going, guys? So I'm making this video today to kind of go over what happened with the channel. This video is going to be very unscripted, but I did want to give you guys an update on what's happened in my life, resulting in not doing consistent uploads, and just things kind of slowing down. There was a couple big life events that happened that ultimately resulted in that, and I want to go through those today, and then we'll touch on those real quick, and then I'll kind of give you the overview of what I want to do with the channel moving forward. So I want to say mid to end of 2023, there was a couple things that happened in rapid succession. And these things that happened kind of just derailed the entire channel. Everything was put on the back burner until I can get life figured out and get back on track. Now, the first thing that happened, I want to say it was September. I had a couple projects that I was working on. I was doing the PS3 refurb for a subscriber. I sent it back to him, ended up getting the yellow light of death again. He sent it back. As soon as I received that, somewhere around that time, I had what's called a transient ischemic attack. I might be mispronouncing that. But it kind of derailed my entire plan, and I woke up one morning just feeling really weird. Couldn't really walk fully. It was kind of unstable. And when I walked downstairs to get some water, I just couldn't make out the words that I was trying to say. Just felt really lethargic. Got some water, tried to talk to my roommate. Wasn't really making sense. And that should have been a immediate, like, hey, go to the hospital. There's something wrong. But I didn't. I just thought I was tired. I was working long hours and went straight back to bed. So I think I wake up the next day. I slept like 10 hours, something pretty crazy. But woke up the next day, felt my face. It still felt kind of numb. And when I kind of put two and two together after I was back in the rhythm of things and my mind was working a little bit better, I realized like my left side of my body is not functioning the way it should. It's numb, I'm slow, fatigued, something serious is going on. My wife, well, at the time she wasn't my wife, went to work, and I needed to get some help. So doing what I probably shouldn't have, I should have called an ambulance. I drove myself to the hospital. Granted, it was only like a block or two away, but still not fully thinking through what's going on. So I get to the hospital. They hook a bunch of wires up to me. They do a CAT scan, and ultimately it resulted in I had a transient ischemic attack, which is kind of like a stroke if you don't know what that is. Yeah, and it knocked me on my rear. There was a good 2 weeks of recovery, that really kind of got me back into the rhythm, things to where I could, articulate full sentences and feel, good enough to work and, go through life. So I started work again, and roughly about a month and a half later, my wife and I went to the courthouse and got married. We were already planning on it. It's not like a spur of the moment because of this event. But we ended up getting married. I think it was the day before the wedding, or the day before the courthouse wedding. I was offered a promotion in Colorado. At the time we were living in Utah, and ultimately we ended up accepting it. My wife's work, unfortunately, she couldn't just drop everything and leave, so we were planning on me going out there, getting a small apartment, living and paying rent in two places until we can fully move out there. So that kind of wraps up the first two big things. The last one being the promotion. We'll dive into that a little bit more. So we pick up our entire life from Utah and move to Westminster, Colorado, which is around the Denver area. And I'm launching an entire new branch. I accepted a role as the operations manager or branch manager. If you've never started a location or started a business, starting from nothing to something, it's incredibly challenging. That like 6 month period from the inception of the branch to 6 months out, when I kind of had everybody trained up, hired, and going through that, was an absolute nightmare. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. But ultimately, I stayed in that position for about 2 years, and I'm leaving that company. I have some things that I disagree with. It's a good company, and not knocking it, and I'm not going to elaborate on what company that is, but for me personally and what I stand for and what I believe in, just can't continue to make that work. So with all those different things, running the business, going through, not my business, but running the business, the health issues, getting married, the relocation and moving, it made running the YouTube channel not feasible. So where we're at today, now that I'm no longer with that company, I do want to continue to make videos. I want to get back to my passions, 3D printing, technology, just sharing those passions back with you guys. And if you've stuck along this entire way, I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. I would have thought as soon as my involvement with the YouTube channel ended, or not ended, but stopped, the channel would kind of die. Views would go to nothing. But consistently, the content that I've made, even though it's not the greatest, it's the best I can do for what I have and the knowledge I have now. But the channel has continued to grow. It's continued to do fairly well, and I just want to get back to my passions and kind of foster that and feed it and see if it turns into something. If you do enjoy the content, you know, I really want to try to foster that and do the best I can. So I'm a nerd at heart. I love gaming, I love technology, and I want to get back to my roots and just enjoy what I do again. So other than that, it's nothing too crazy. I'm still here, I'm healthy, fully recovered. I don't think there's any long-term permanent damage. So yeah, just excited to get back into it. But with that being said, thank you for watching. If you stuck around this long, if you're not subscribed, feel free to subscribe. And if you have any ideas on content that you want to see, drop it down below. But anyways, thank you for watching.